Good morning. The word for you today. Today is Thursday, May 30th. We are almost at the end of this devotional series. If you haven't had a chance, please come by the church office and grab a booklet. We've got plenty, and we are more than happy to give them to you because we want to be able to continue this series with you. So today our devotional is all about how to live without stress. And we're going to be starting in the first verse of chapter 16 of the book of Luke. So Luke 16 verse 1 begins with Jesus saying to his disciples, "There was a rich man who had a manager, a steward, and charges were brought to him that this man was wasting his possessions. And he called him forward, and he said to him, 'What is this that I hear about you? Turn in the account of your management, for you can no longer be manager.' And the manager said to himself, 'What shall I do? My master is taking the management away from me. I'm not strong enough to dig, and I'm ashamed to beg. I've decided what to do, so that when I am removed from management, people may receive me into their house.' So summoning his master's debtors, one by one, he said to the first, 'How much do you owe my master?' And he said, 100 measures of oil. So he said to him, 'Take your bill and sit down quickly and write 50. We're going to stop right there. What's happening so far? This is a parable of unjust economic practices. Later on, we're going to see the word mammon. So I want to first start out by saying mammon isn't probably what you think it is. When we hear mammon, we think of the demon Mammon. The reality is that's not who Jesus is probably talking about. Probably mammon is a euphemism, is a common way of saying greed, the love of money, overindulgence in monetary sin. So that's what we're talking about with mammon. So this steward, he is a servant who loves mammon, who loves money and is greedy, who takes advantage of others. What this servant is doing is he is using another person's debts, and he's altering them, he's putting them basically in his own pocket. So now these debtors can't come forward and say, well, we're being taken advantage of. Because if they do that, then they also have to admit that they also took advantage of this ruler. So it's kind of a catch-22. So now we're going to skip down to verse 10. And verse 10 says, "One who is faithful in very little is also faithful in much, and one who is dishonest in very little is also dishonest in much." So this is after the ruler has found out. This is after the ruler has found out that what was done, and this is Jesus kind of explaining things. "If then you have not been faithful in the unrighteous wealth, who will entrust to you the true riches? And if you have not been faithful in that which is another's, who will give you that which is your own? No servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. You cannot serve God and money." So, how to live without stress? This is a very simple way to do it. It's not the only way, and it's not even a complete way to do it. But I think what this devotion is trying to get at is that one of the central things we have to do is we have to change our focus on the world. We have to change what we're doing. Instead of being focused on accumulating, of growing, of creating a better life for us on this side, we should instead be focusing on serving, on loving, and on creating a better world for others on this side. When we read the Bible, there are going to be parables that don't make much sense to us. They are separated by thousands of years and cultures upon cultures of context. But what I would argue is that this is a timeless tale, in that we live in a world where wealth, where power, where privileges can make us feel like we have an entitlement to treat others poorly. And what I would argue is that it is imperative that we as Christians take a step back and live a life separated from mammon, separated from money, to live a life closer to God's plan. And I guarantee you that there will be a lot less stress. Have a nice day.